In a distant land, there lived a girl named Ure. She was a very beautiful girl, but was very fat. Ure, who lived with her parents, was born chubby. She grew up fat, causing people to make fun of her. Ure was a very caring and sweet girl. Despite her weight, she does all the house chores in the hut for her mother, like fetching of firewood from the forest, fetching water from the village stream, going to the market and cooking. She was very hardworking, and her parents loved her. Ure lived a lonely life. Apart from her parents, she never had any friends. Nobody wanted to make friends with her because of her weight. Even when she tried to make friends, they rejected her and mocked her. Ure was body shamed all through her life, which affected her confidence and self-esteem. She was always hiding. She don't appear in public places. Her mother tried to make her love herself by telling her how beautiful she is. But Ure never believed her mother. Instead, she cries every day. The villagers told her she will never get married because no man will want to marry an overweight person like her. This made Ure cry, believing she will never get married. She always believed she's going to die single. Amidst all this, Ure had a great talent. She was a great singer and dancer. She had a powerful, sweet voice and a very good dancer. But she never sang in public or danced in public. She only sings when she's in her room or alone in the forest fetching firewood. One fateful day, Ure was in the forest fetching firewood as usual. She was singing at the same time, swaying her waist, when a young, handsome man stood behind a tree watching her. When she stopped singing, he called her attention by clapping his hands. Ure was startled, as she was always alone and never had any company before, nor any friends. Ure, who was about running away, was stopped by the young man, who told her he was impressed by her moves and her sweet voice. He told her his name was Ikenna and was from the same village with Ure. Ure, who has never seen or met this young handsome man before until that moment, quietly carried her firewood and hurriedly left. After greeting the young man, she was so shy and surprised that such a young, handsome man was talking to someone like her, because no man has ever talked to her except her father. She went home thinking of him. Weeks passed. Ure never saw the young man again. She regretted never telling him her name. She was always thinking about him. 3 months later, the king of the village announced that his son and the heir to the throne would be picking his bride, and he would be picking from the young maidens. He announced that the most beautiful and the best dancer would be the prince's wife. He urged the village maidens to dress their best and come show their dancing skills to the prince in 2 weeks' time. The village maidens were thrilled. They were so happy as they prepared for the dancing competition. Ure, who heard the announcement, was not bothered. She believed she was not invited. She believed she wasn't good enough and no man would want to marry her, let alone a prince. so she did not prepare. Her mother tried to make her change her mind, but she refused, saying she don't want to be embarrassed. The day finally came. Everybody were at the palace to watch the competition. The competition started. Young maidens started dancing one after the other to show their skills. Almost all the maidens had danced, but the prince did not choose any. Ure, who was watching behind a tree, started dancing. She was moved by the beats coming from the drum. She was dancing gracefully and singing along. Meanwhile, the prince, who had become restless, suddenly spots Uri dancing under a tree, far from the palace. He recognized the figure and immediately stood up. He walked through the crowd as the villagers stared at him. He signaled the singers and drummers not to stop playing as he walked up to Uri. On getting close to her, he held her hands. Uri was shocked, same as the prince, because they have both met before. It turned out that the young man she met few months ago in the forest, whose name was Ikenna, was the prince. Prince Ikenna held her hands as he explained how he tried looking for her and how he couldn't because she never told him her name. That day they met in the forest. He told Uri he was the prince and how he was walking around the village when he stumbled upon her in the forest. Uri, who was shocked, could not believe her eyes. She could not believe the prince was holding her hands. Prince Ikenna took Uri to his father, the king, declared her his bride. The villagers were shocked. Uri's parents, who were at the festival, were happy for their daughter. Uri, who was still shocked, could not believe what was happening. She cried. 7 days later, Uri and Prince Ikenna got married and Uri moved to the palace. She became the future queen of the land. She lived happily with her husband and family.